As the year winds down, many folks are looking to the next year to make positive changes. Many New Year's resolutions revolve around developing better eating habits. Quote, "You are what you eat," end quote, is far more than an often quoted cliche. It is one of the most important things you can do to get and stay healthy. Maybe the most important. When people talk about eating better, they usually vow to consume more fresh fruits and vegetables, or drink more water, or add a few quality supplements to their daily fare. These are all great ideas. But what you don't put in your body is as important as what you do put in it. Think about it. Most of us would never consider putting cheap, inferior gas and oil in our cars. If you are serious about eating for health, it begins with what to avoid. Here are a few suggestions. Yes, it's convenient, but it also contains many unpleasant surprises. First off, the bag itself. Microwave popcorn bags are lined with a chemical called perfluorooctanoic acid. Perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA. This is a toxin you can also find in Teflon. According to a recent study at the University of California, PFOA is linked to infertility in women. Numerous studies in lab animals and humans show that exposure to PFOA significantly increases the risk of kidney, bladder, liver, pancreas, and testicular cancers. Read more about it at cancer.org. But we are not done yet. It's time to consider what's inside the bag. Most manufacturers use soybean oil, a GMO product, as well as various preservatives such as propyl gallate, a chemical that causes stomach problems and skin rashes. But you wouldn't know it by reading the label. Why? Because the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, does not require GMO corn kernels to be listed as such. Even if they don't use GMO corn, you can bet your house they aren't using organic corn. If all this weren't enough, applied to the popcorn itself is a chemical called diacetyl. This is the hideous substance that was responsible for it. It may take a few extra minutes to air pop your popcorn, but the health benefits are well worth the wait, and the refined, fresh taste is icing on the cake. Fruits that are non-organic are contaminated with some hazardous pesticides such as atrazine, thiodicarb, and organophosphates, as well as high nitrogen fertilizers. Atrazine is banned in European countries, but our FDA is still not moved to do the same in America. This chemical is a weed killer that is extremely hazardous to humans, especially our reproductive capabilities. A 2009 study found that when pregnant women drank water contaminated with atrazine, their babies had reduced body weights. In their never-ending quest for profits, the giant agricultural companies, or Big Agra, pours an enormous amount of these chemicals on our produce, as well as hormones, to make the fruit and veggies grow bigger. Apples are probably the worst offenders, with pesticides showing on more than 98% of all apples tested. Fruits with a 90% positive rate of pesticide residues included oranges, strawberries, and grapes. Washing fruit does not remove 100% of the residue. Pesticides are toxic chemicals to insects as well as human beings. The takeaway? Eat organic as much as possible. Most canned foods are a problem due to the internal lining of the can, a chemical called bisphenol A, or BPA. A study published in May of 2013 by the Proceeding of the National Academy of Sciences showed that BPA alters the way genes work inside the brain of rats. Of course, it may take years for them to either eliminate BPA or minimize its use. But we don't have to wait on Leviathan bureaucrats. We can reduce our exposure to cans now. And why tomatoes? They are exceptionally dangerous due to their high acidity, which seems to cause BPA to seep from the lining of the can into the vegetables themselves. The level of BPA can be so high that you should seriously consider not feeding them to children. Again, due to FDA laws, there are no standards for labeling BPA, so just because a can does not say it has it, does not mean that it does not contain BPA. Be safe and avoid cans. Cook fresh or buy glass bottles. What are we talking about here? Sausages, hot dogs, bacon, and most lunch meats like bologna or pimento loaf. The problem is that the excessive salts and chemicals used when making processed meats are damaging to your health, according to research from the Journal of BMC Medicine. The study showed that those who ate 160 grams or more of processed meats increased their risk of early death as much as 44% within 12 years as opposed to those who ate 20 grams or less. The study involved people from 10 European countries and went on for almost 13 years. Here's the problem. Processed meats contain numerous chemicals and preservatives, including sodium nitrates, which make them look appealing and fresh, but are well-known carcinogens. Smoked meats seem to be particularly bad, as the meat picks up tar from the smoking process. Yes, good old tar, the same deadly ingredient that cigarette smoke contains. Although fish is usually a very healthy food, it depends on where and how they are raised and fed. More than 60% of the salmon consumed in the USA is farm-raised. These fish are fed unnatural diets and are contaminated with chemicals, antibiotics, pesticides, and other known carcinogens. They live in very crowded conditions, which result in these fish having 30 times the number of sea lice than wild salmon. Bon appetit! Farmed salmon are fed chemicals to make their meat that reddish-pink color that should occur naturally, but doesn't due to the diet of chicken litter they are fed. Also, as a result of their diet, they have less of the healthy omega-3 fatty acids that we think we are getting when we consume fish. Studies have also shown that farmed salmon contain high levels of PCBs, mercury, and cancer-causing dioxins. Avoid farmed salmon. Buy it canned, or look for labels that state the fish you are buying is wild sockeye salmon.